Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, my fellow Chibits. Hopefully all of you are having a very wonderful day today, because today, Toriko is out, and all the other weekly manga chapter reviews, along with weekly episodes, are out today with some really good stuff. Hopefully all of you continue to have wonderful days. So let's dive into Toriko. So this chapter, very simplistic. Like, I guess sometimes we do need chapters like this, because usually Toriko is a lot of info. Like, every single chapter usually has a lot of info, a lot of things you need to dive into, and also usually it's very hype-inducing. But this chapter kind of takes a slow, calm, and relaxing route. Like, it's very different from recent chapters we've gotten in the past couple months, because this chapter is mainly just a couple of things going on. I mean, it's where Komatsu and Toriko kind of meet back up together, the group is back together, and all the ingredients and stuff, like another news and stuff, are all there in one area, where Toriko and everybody can feast on them for the first time, and then they stand in, a different area to where they can eat it without being interrupted. Time is flowing slowly, so they have time to discuss stories, which I'll get into that in a moment. So, I mean, majority of this, chapter, very simple. Like, I mean, honestly, I feel like this video is probably going to be rather quick, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, there's some dialogue and banter between, different characters, but for the most part, nothing truly important besides a couple of segments which I want to talk about, which one of the segments is definitely getting to see Dawn Slime fighting Neo, and he launches in a fucking meteor, and I'm like, my god! Like, you just see this giant meteor coming from, the space, and Dawn Slime's about to land it on Neo, and that's the last we kind of see of it. So, yeah, Dawn Slime, freaking crazy strong. I mean, launching damn meteors from space. It reminds me completely of what Madara did when he just launched 2 from space. So, pretty cool. That was really cool to see when it came to this chapter, but that's not all. I mean, we have the dialogue with getting to see Komatsu and Toriko meet up once again, and for the most part, it's the same old meetup we see when Komatsu doesn't see, Toriko for a long time. The meetup, Komatsu cries a little bit for the comedy segment, and then you see it to where they, discuss their stories, and Komatsu acts like, oh yeah, I'm mentally mature now. I'm decades old. It's been decades since I've seen you, and all that. I'm more mature than you now, Toriko. So I couldn't help but laugh at that, just seeing how adult Komatsu is just acting so mature and stuff, like he put on this persona. It's very different from how we normally see him. Now, besides that, getting into the, sitting down to eat, another news and stuff, it's not really much going on right there so far in this chapter. I mean, they're just getting ready to eat, and it seems like we're actually going to get to see the first impressions of how the food affects, our characters, and I'm glad that, the mangaka is not skipping that, because that's something I wanted to see, and with the way this is being set up, especially with this chapter, there's a perfect time now to kind of slip in some flashbacks. Now, remember what I talked about a couple chapters back, with how a lot of areas were skipped completely over, like all the different ingredients of Akasa's, main course was skipped. They were completely, skipped over. And I know many of us were very upset about that, because so many things we wanted to see. I mean, it was one of the main goals of Toriko, finding all of Akasa's, meals and dishes he did, his full course. And not seeing that, it felt like some of the main goals that we set out to find out when we started the manga was ripped away from us. And with the way this chapter ends, it sets up for the perfect time for a flashback. For instance, everybody's sitting down, they're eating, you have the final remaining, light above them that's left before the eclipse, and the eclipse is about to happen. This is the perfect time to discuss stories between each other and set up for the final arc of the series. For instance, say, each individual talks about what they've been through for the areas, like how they did it or how they accomplished it, and then once we're all done with all these different areas with their individual flashbacks, we move on to the final arc, which is Eclipse. This is the perfect time, and I actually like the way this has been set up quite a bit. I mean, if the mangaka is going for this route with the way the, flashbacks are going to be set up, I'm actually saying I like this a whole lot more. I mean, I just love the overall setup, just sitting around eating and discussing stories while you're eating, and then we set up into the final battle, which is really cool. I would love that if that is indeed what is going on here, but if not, I want to be very disappointed, because that's something I wanted to see, and I still have my hope. I have my hope that we're going to see these flashbacks, because many of us want to see that, and hopefully we are not disappointed when the next chapter, rolls around. And for the most part, that's kind of what the chapter is about. That's exactly it. That's really all that this chapter really tried to focus on. So for the most part, that's pretty much it when it comes to this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Y'all have a wonderful day or nights wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.